go. Hey there, I'm Vakari, and I'm playing Democracy 3 today. I'm going to get started here with a new game. If you haven't seen this game before, it's a political simulator. It's got kind of an interesting interface. Tons and tons of things are available for it on Steam Workshop, as well as a few expansions that Positech came out with. Right now, I don't have a lot of the mods on. I've got kind of the basic stuff here. So I'm gonna do... Let's play Germany. I'm gonna do 3-term length. Let's do 3-term limit. 2-term limit, but 4 years. There we go. Let's do that. I'm not going to mess with these other settings here. Alright, so the first thing if you haven't seen this game before, basically all of these different categories, you want to try to, well, you want to reduce poverty and crime, unemployment, and you want to raise your GDP, health, and education. So they kind of start you with some challenges to do that. So here, all these red ones are bad things that are going on. If we get to a certain point, we'll get some good things going on, some green ones will appear. So right now we're kind of middle of the road. You get 25 points to start, and that goes up and down when you mess with your ministry stuff. And that's basically how many actions I can take this turn. Right now, that just shows what kind of income, expenditures, where we have a deficit right now. So we're going to see if we can turn that around and stay in office and not get shot. So the first thing I want to do is just look through some of the categories. Actually, you know what? I want to look at my ministers first. Let's reshuffle our cabinet and hire the people we want. So for foreign policy, these numbers down here underneath the portrait kind of shows their power, so to speak, like how much, I don't know, if they like you and what you're doing, that number gets higher. If it gets down to 0, they quit. But a lot of it's based on if they're in the job that they want, plus what their sympathies are for. So if you're doing stuff that the people like, their experience and loyalty will go up. So anyways, I'm looking for a foreign policy guy, 3.7. I usually, when I first start out, I like to look for ones that are pretty high in that category, that also have stuff like, in general, I know that there's certain, I guess, factions that I kind of pander to, so I'm kind of looking for a bit of both. Let's see, this one's for welfare, economy, tax, what's this next one? Public service. Law and order. And transport. You can kind of reshuffle your cabinet from time to time. Usually I set it up at the beginning and then I kind of leave it go and just deal with the people who aren't happy as they come up. I don't know that I really like any of these guys. Let's go with that guy. All right. Okay, now this is a unique interface. Basically, anything that you hover over. Okay, so this alcohol abuse is something that we're going to want to deal with and try to get it off our board. So the green items are what's feeding it, and the red ones are what's reducing it. And in turn, it's also feeding other things. So all the green ones coming in, so poverty, unemployment, and alcohol consumption, those are all contributing to the problem. Alcohol abuse is contributing to crime, and police, health, and community policing are reducing the effects of it. So in order to do something about it, we have to make positive changes to the ones that reduce it. And then that's kind of how this whole thing works. There's anything you hover over it, it shows that kind of the relationship between these other areas. So first off, I want to look at some stuff up here. This intelligence briefing, certain maps you have like a super high risk of getting assassinated. Other ones it's not so much. I think I picked Germany, and it's actually a pretty easy one. The chart up here kind of shows you the different factions of people and what levels if they're on the up or down. These focus groups can give you more insight into what makes them happy and what doesn't. I don't use these a whole lot. It depends on what kind of crisis I have going on. The money one just shows you where the money's being spent, what's coming in, and then there's other little charts that go with it. I honestly don't use the charts a whole lot, but every once in a while, sometimes I fiddle with things from this screen rather than the other. This light bulb or different policies you can enact, and you'll see me in there a lot. What's this one? Achievements. That's just my achievements. Okay. That was these people silhouettes are my cabinet of ministers, and you can go in and, like I said, adjust them a little bit from time to time. Basically, all you can do is either hire or fire. You can't really do a whole lot else. The parties are the political parties, and I think that's about it. So right now, if you don't do anything and hit next, basically you'll accumulate some more of these points you can spend. I'm going to spend a little bit of them because there's certain policies. I've played this a fair amount. There's certain policies that just are always good for you, so I kind of look for those. I go to like the public services. There's usually some that are just in general crowd pleasers that make everybody happy. Some of the welfare ones can be tricky. Economy stuff, there's stuff in there that can boost, obviously that one boosts your economy. Foreign policy, I haven't had it come into play a whole lot. We'll have some of these issues come up and we'll have to deal with them. I went ahead and implemented that just because it's a source of income, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. And then at the beginning of every time you get this quarterly report, and these question marks you have to deal with. So this one's about freedom of information. We're going to go with that. Your choices on those question mark ones affect like public opinion. Sometimes they can spawn events and things like that that either are good for you or bad for you. It depends. Other information you can get here, you can get the same information when you're actually in here. So, all Alright, so we have 30 points to spend. Start working on that alcohol problem. So we're going to spend some money. You can adjust these however you want. I'm kind of all over the place with it, as you'll probably see. Let's see, we still have a lot of points here. We want to do stuff for health. Free school meals is a big one. That's an important one because it affects a lot of stuff. So even though we're in the hole, we still want to spend the money on this because it helps reduce poverty, it affects our health, and all this other green stuff is good for us. So we want to do that. We still have a lot of points. I'm not too worried about transport yet. I want to get some of the other things going on. Law and order, we'll deal with that, but not immediately. Education is something I absolutely want to do. That's a big one to get some green events going on, so we have good stuff happening. We don't have a whole lot of points here. Let's do the healthy eating campaign to try to get, we want to knock that obesity off of there. All right, so we're good. We got 4 points left. I'm going to go ahead and move on. All right, so we got rid of the uncompetitive economy, so that's a good thing. So that means our GDP will start going up. This debt protection law. If we, like I said, when we make these choices, it affects how people think about things and can make other events. Like right now, I'm gonna limit it. That's probably gonna tick off all my capitalist, but so be it. Homelessness, obesity, alcohol abuse, and what is this? Inner city riots. So we want to reduce, basically, once we start reducing some of these others, I think that one will go away. So we got 32 points. Let's see what we can do. Let's try to deal with some of that homelessness. Let's go with rent controls. That'll help us lower poverty. Makes our capitalists very unhappy, but so be it. They were already unhappy. I also want to get some income coming in. So let's do the junk food tax because that one's a fairly safe one and it helps look how much it reduces the obesity problem. And raises health. It does affect some of these other things, but still, we're gonna do it. And I want, there's like a plastic bag tax. These are pretty like low priority things, but they help. The environmentalist thing is always one of the ones that I like to raise. Now some of these others are a little tricky. Let's do this. This will help appease, even though we're having to spend a little bit. It'll help appease our, it'll raise our GDP, help some people out. I'm just trying to decide, I don't want to go too crazy with it. Or do I? How much? That's a pretty big gain in some of those. Let's do it. I'm going to keep those 11 points and move it on, because sometimes you need like a lot of points and you can't do them all in one shot. So we want to see these bottom three, we want to see them get lower and lower. We want to see these upper ones get maxed out if possible. So this exclamation point, it's just something good that happens. Sometimes there's, I forget what the other one is, but sometimes something bad happens. And it's just a minor adjustment to the factions and all that. And that's kind of the gist of this game. I mean, there's a lot going on the screen, but it's not terribly difficult or anything. You just make choices about how you want to do things. Once you played for a while, it's kind of you kind of figure out what is going on with like how people are going to react to things, so you know what to do with them. I've had this for a while, so I'm kind of used to it. Let's see. Anything that we can do to boost education is a good thing. Let's see. Let's do some small business grants. That affects our GDP in a positive way. And it also, no matter what you do on those choices, somebody's going to be unhappy. So you just got to kind of roll with it. I don't want to do that yet. Gated communities is one of the things we can do to lower our crime a little bit. Let's see what else we can do to lower crime. That's a pretty small health boost there. It's not that much money. Let's look at, we've got 10 points left. Is there anything else there? Let's do the witness protection program because that helps us drop violent crime. All right. Let's see. You can also, if you don't deal with on that I always deal with it on the pop-up screen, but if you don't, you can still deal with those policy questions later. I'm trying to think of what kind of things we want to do here. Let's see, 16 points. I try not to tax things in general because but at the same time we do need to get money in here. See, I don't like that one's going to drop our GDP, so, but we still want the money. We're going to lower it a little bit just to shrink that. Okay. Oh, see, our GDP is like in the red now, and that sucks because all kinds of stuff starts happening with that. It'll make our deficit and all that stuff start getting crazy. I don't want to deal with transport quite yet. I don't think there's anything else I want to do right now with law and order. A lot of the ones in the public services are relatively cheap, and they can bring good stuff, basically. Like this one. It's a small game, but still that stuff adds up. Let's see. I really need to stimulate my economy. Let's do some stuff that'll make our capitalist happy. That one I cranked up just because there's not a whole lot of things that affect the youth faction, so I try to be rather generous with those. Speaking of which, I'm going to do this one. I don't know if I'm going too fast or anything. All right, so your deficit is definitely getting a little unhappy. Now this one's an expensive one, but it's so worth it. It does a lot of stuff for the unemployment. The technology thing, we want that to go up. And it does drop religious membership, although it doesn't make those people angry. There's less of them. So all the stuff that's in the red here is not really, I mean, it's fewer people in that faction, but it's in, okay, I mean, that's fine. So, but we do need to get some. Okay, so we ended the obesity thing. We need to appoint an ambassador. I think we want that guy. Again, a lot of this, I mean, it's the things that pop up are pretty standard if you've played through the game. Now, there are so many, and like I said, right now I'm not playing with any mods, but there are so many available from the Steam Workshop. It's amazing all the different things that you can do. You do have to watch, so every once in a while you'll get one that doesn't work nicely with another and it'll crash things, so you kind of have to go slow when you add them so that you know which one. If you get a whole bunch of them, don't add them all at once because it's a lot harder to figure out which one is broken. All right, so our deficit is kind of crap here. Let's get some more money here out of the airlines. It's not a huge amount, but it takes a lot more capital gain, like political capital up here, to raise things that are already existing than it does to initiate it the first time, it seems. All right, we're down to 14. I don't have enough capital to do that. I'm trying to go ahead and raise existing stuff a little bit rather than create new taxes. Let's see. I don't like to go too crazy with raising, but I like it to be enough to be significant. Bless you. This should help our poverty quite a bit. Let's see. Still got quite a bit of deficit there, but we'll get there. Okay, so now we have this technological advantage, and that should start helping our GDP. So that's a good thing. All right, I'm gonna skip that one for now. And you'll see, since I skipped that question, it's up here and I actually can't go to the next one until I deal with it. So that's kind of what happens there. We want... The middle income people are like the hardest one in this game to deal with. Because it seems like the poverty, you can deal with it, but the middle income people are just always kind of stuck and screwed. Same, the rich people are easy to deal with as well. really don't want to mess with those taxes. It's this one, plastic bags, sales tax, microgeneration grants. Okay, so what kind of things help this? So our policies are all helping to raise that, and that boosts our GDP and productivity. So that's good stuff. We still have the homeless issue. Let's see. If I remember right, when I did the robotics thing, for some reason, that one like caused all kinds of bad things to happen. You'd think it would be a good thing, but it like wasn't. It may have been fixed since. I just have like stayed away from it ever since. I don't know that I want to mess with any of that yet. Trying to decide what kind of this one should help the poor people. We need stuff to deal with our unemployment. I know there's one up here somewhere. I'm trying to find it. Unemployment. If we raise our import tariffs, our unemployment goes down. So does our international trade and foreign relations, though. But I really want that unemployment to go down. Plus it's income. It's not much, but it's income. Do some state housing. That also helps the poor out, so it reduces poverty. And the capitalists are always angry with me when I play. Apparently I'm a socialist. Who knew? I'm a liberal socialist, if there's, when I play this game anyways. All right, let's deal with this factory farming law. Alright, so we've got a new good situation. So that should make our GDP hopefully growing again. A lot of these were kind of middle of the road. The middle income people are always tough, and the capitalists are always, you can do a lot of stuff to make them happy, but in general, it seems like your deficit is so out of control. It's like ridiculous. It's kind of up to you what you want your goals to be. I mean, you can move towards any of these factions that you want and build your own society and screw the rules, but normally what I try to do is I try to do things that I think make everybody happy, and then also try to deal with the deficit when I can. Okay, so the inner city riots are over. Let's see, what do we need to do up here? Well, we're doing the right things to help get rid of it. We're just not there yet. This one lowers things a little bit, but it does give a little bit of income as well. Trying to decide what other kind of... Our health stuff is in decent shape right now. This graduate tax one, I don't know where they do that, but I think it's a horrible idea. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of income, but I just can't bring myself to do it. Not the way education is here. Let's get some more of our people in school. That though. I don't think I have a whole lot of points left. I actually have 16, but let's roll it over anyways. Okay, so we got rid of the homeless situation. Our GDP is on the rise. Health and education are in good shape. Our crime is really down. Our poverty is still meh, and our unemployment's still meh. So we need to fix those. Economy. Let's do a trade council thing here. Try to boost our foreign stuff a little bit since I made them mad with the taxes. This also affects the foreign relations, yeah, and it'll lower racial tension. That's another one that can flare up sometimes. I am gonna do the tax shelters. Because we want our GDP to go up. How about a little bit of tourism? That'll boost some foreign relations a little bit. All right. We may have to go a couple turns without spending much. People smuggling. Try to do what we can here in the economy stuff. But you kind of have to watch because some of the policies really can screw you over if you're not careful. What's this one going to do for us? Raise our GDP? Yes, please. This one basically is a little boost to the environment stuff. So that makes our environmentalist happy. We'll do the city farm one here, just because we haven't given any love to our farmers lately. And let's do an arts subsidy. So that also boosts tourism, foreign relations, a little bit to education. All right. got a Nobel Prize, and our credit rating got upgraded. Okay, so we're back on the upswing in those. These other ones are dropping, so we're filling out the bar pretty well. We're going to be able to start dealing with some of this other stuff soon. I'm kind of trying to pick off all the low-hanging fruit here right now. Just policies that are ones that in general the public likes and help boost, give little boost to some things. See, there's a lot of them in here that I just don't think are... Let's do this one. Anything we can do to reduce racial tension is always good in this game. Let's keep all those points and see if we get any big stuff starting to get unlocked. Oh, election time. All right. This just kind of gives a little summary of what so actually our equality went down, so that's something I probably ought to some of those are this one is difficult to get rid of. I bet there's a let's see minimum age 16, that's maybe that'll Alright, so our deficit's looking better. Still not quite there yet. How many points do we have? 42. Welfare, is there anything in here that... I think this one helps. Yeah, this one helps with all kinds of stuff. That one's going to be expensive though. But that's okay. The other ones I'm okay with. They can stay where they're at. This one makes, this eco home one makes the environmentalist happy. We like the environmentalist to be happy. We're okay there. I don't want to mess with any of these right now. Let's do some public service stuff. I think this one helps with our stuff. It's not much, but it's not that expensive either. Oh, health. Okay. You want to keep that one going. Alright, so things are still looking pretty good up here on our charts. Oh wow, look how much that one drops racial tension. Or is that a bad thing? Actually, I think we want tension to go down, so. Let's keep the health thing. Well, we're gonna do it. Okay, so we have a new situation, cyber warfare. All right, and we had a market meltdown. Yay, socialism. Okay, so what's reducing that? Intelligence services, and that's like the only thing that can reduce it. So we're gonna crank up the, because I'm pretty sure I have not seen anything else in here that can battle it directly. Gonna lower that a bit. Yeah, those, when we have those red events, they like hugely affect the GDP stuff. Let's see, we've still got a bit of time here. I think there's really anything there. The carbon tax I'm thinking about doing. Yeah, nobody will like it, but they can get over it. Makes everybody unhappy, but I think I can deal with it with my popularity ratings. Oh. Some of those are just like ethical questions that I don't always use. I just kind of go with whatever I feel like at the moment. Some of these are also tricky ones, like stem cell research is probably one that would do good stuff for our science and stuff, but it like freaks the religious people out, and then all kinds of crazy things start happening with your factions. You have to be careful with those. I'm kind of saving the transport stuff until my like next term. Speed cameras, let's do that. That's a little bit of boost to our income. Makes the, we're not gonna go crazy with it, but a little bit there. Now the other thing you can do is you can actually go up and invest in some of the stuff that's already here. Like I didn't really go through any of it myself. If we do expansions on the roads, it obviously makes the motorist happy, pisses off the environmentalist, more car usage, but less congestion. It does affect unemployment though. Let's push it up to a little bit. It doesn't change the unemployment as much as I would like, but Oops, I don't have enough to do that apparently. Nope, I've only got 7. I guess we won't do that. We were just kidding. Okay, we finally got rid of the alcohol abuse problem. We've got food price crisis. But our credit rating, so our GDP must be going back up. That's like the biggest problem with our I don't think changing this a whole lot is going to, it could do wonders for our unemployment, but actually our unemployment's okay right now. At least I think it is. The numbers were pretty low on the last chart. We're only 6 billion down. Let's see. I always feel like there's more public services I could be doing here. Let's make the youth happy. Yeah, I really don't want more taxes. Let's do this one because it boosts health a little bit and it's pretty cheap. I'm not going to mess with the money on it too much. This one really helps out the poor earnings and middle earnings, so, and raises equality. Yeah, let's do that. It's an expensive one though, so I'm gonna have to try to figure out where I want to make that up, but that's okay. This basically makes more parents, and it does boost family stuff. That one's another environmental one. Good order. Let's put flags on the corners. What does that do? Makes our patriots happy, raises racial tension a little bit, and makes the minorities unhappy. So let's go with the minimum there. All right. Yeah, that went back up because of I still think that was a good policy choice, so I'm sticking with it. That's a nice little chunk to our GDP. Everything's spending. All right, so our cyber warfare thing, so our GDP should like go way up. We should have a ton of points now, 66. Okay. I just don't feel like there's any other good ones that are going to help us, like, raise our GDP type thing in here. I mean, definitely if I tax, but I'd rather not tax if I can help it. Let's do the parenting one. That's fine. The rest of them I don't think I want to do. Our crime stuff is in pretty good shape, so I don't feel like I need to do a whole lot there too, although a lot of these are just terrible. They would be terrible for people. It's not the kind of place I want to run, so it looks like we're gonna have to start doing some reduce the cars. Let's see if we've got any. Yeah, I'm sure my capitalists are all pretty unhappy. We kind of started over here, and then every turn we're like coming over this way. I have a lot of points, but there's not a lot I want to spend it on right now. Let's do some little things here. Let's do this one. That'll give. Got a lot of points built up right now. Alright, so maybe we can tweak some of our. Who's unhappy? Well, the capitalists are unhappy, middle income's unhappy. They don't like the taxes. There's some tax breaks I can give that'll make the middle income people happier, but then it'll start getting back into some of the other groups again. And the capitalists, I know they're just all kinds of unhappy. That's okay. Who do we want to make happy? Well, everyone, duh. They're not happy about I'm not sure why carbon tax would make the general everybody unhappy. That's usually something that politicians are more obsessed with, I think, than everybody. Let's take a look at these folks. Isn't it a good thing if we lower racial tension? Anyways, who do we want to pander to? I'm just not really seeing anything that I really want to do. What we can do. let's do that. So we like I want particle acceleration going on. Let's see. Yeah, we're in pretty good shape there. What's this? Yeah, we're all right there too. Is that oil supply? Alright, I just did something that's going to crank our... I think it's going to put me like 5 billion in the hole again. I think this one actually... Yeah, it does. It actually raises our GDP a little bit. We're in pretty good shape overall. It's rare to see both the motorist and the environmentalist happy about something in this game. Okay. I don't know about that one. Okay, so what's going on over here? Our GDP is going down because of that. So be it. There still isn't a whole lot I want to do. I've got just a little bit of surplus. We've got a lot of debt. But we're still in pretty good shape. Let's do that. I'm sure that'll make our capitalist unhappy again. That's another thing. If you click on these, you can kind of see what things are making them, like this makes them super unhappy. I still have 100% approval though, so there's that. Yeah, there's just not a whole lot to do right now. I don't want to mess with I want to spend more in transport, but I don't want to go back into the debt again either. Trying to let that surplus build up a little bit so then we can spend it in next term. Here we go. Oh, there's a red bar. All right, so we did it. Germany is like the easiest one of these, so this one's a pretty simple one to deal with. So anyways, that's an introduction to Democracy 3. So I know I went through it kind of quick, but that's okay. I think I'm going to call it quits for the day, and I will be offline for tomorrow for sure, and possibly Friday as well. So if I'm not back, have a great weekend, and see you next week.